Excellence doesn't sit still, it moves with vision. So today's guest embodies that. From real estate to resorts, from Puerto Rico to Dubai, she's building a global footprint grounded in purpose, gratitude, and grit. So Heather is the co-founder of Sinkside Billboards, the world's first clean-side media platform refining where and how we connect with people, not through noise, but through the moments of pause. In this conversation, we talk about her journey from corporate success to fearless entrepreneurship, the power of knowing your why, and how writing down her perfect day changed her life forever. This is a masterclass in designing life on your own terms, not by accident, but by intention. Welcome to the Chandler Chase Show, where excellence isn't accidental, it's engineered. Check it out. Heather, welcome to the Chandler Chase Show. It's so great to have you on. It was great to see you in Miami. How are you doing?
I'm great, Chandler. Thanks for having me.
Oh, absolutely. When we met, you have a very interesting project going on. We had Lori on earlier and she touched on it. And I just think what you're doing is so different, right? But also it's growing fast. Like you're getting all these new contracts. And I just wanted to dive in and talk about what makes you, right? And, and partners like how you have Lori create those type of things, right? These amazing businesses and the people behind it.
Yeah, Lori's great. Best business partner ever. So we co-founded Sinkside Billboards last year. And I'll tell you a little bit about what that is later, but it is an amazing, exciting business. And Lori and I have known each other for 16 years and we've kind of just done business the same way together, done little deals together here and there. And we decided to start something because it's a huge, huge opportunity. I'll just give you a little hint into it because we saw the opportunity. We both have a background in marketing, and we are the only place in the world that anybody can be marketed to, watch a video ad where guaranteed they're not going to have their phone in their hand. So only one person has ever answered this correctly. You think, well, where is this? And people answer, oh, the toilet. And I'm like, nope, people bring their phone into the toilet. I know you're guilty. And well, the urinals. And I'm like, well, I hear you men also bring your phone into the urinals. So watching a video or whatever. So we joke, but those people are close, but we're on the clean side. Nobody washes their hands with their phone in their hand. So think of an iPad. We have a little iPad in front of the faucet. And when people wash their hands, we're delivering marketing messages to them. So it wasn't my idea. It's a great idea. And Lori and I saw this idea and we realized what we could create with it. So that's why we started it last year. I've just been an entrepreneur since my mid 20s. I read a book. I'm sure most of people that are listening to your show have read Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I had a job out of college, a great job. I was making great money, probably like $160,000 a year or so. And I was traveling the world and I wanted to do something with my money. So I started buying real estate, thanks to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I read another book called Loopholes of the Rich. And I quit my job 5 days later and started my own company. And it's just been a wild ride of ups and downs and lots of fun and lots of stress and sleepless nights. And it's been a journey. And so, yeah, I've had a bunch of businesses. I've had software companies. I've had real estate businesses. I've had marketing agencies. We have Sinkside Billboards now. I own hotels. We own 6 hotels in Puerto Rico. We own a couple restaurants. I've just done a bunch. I love helping people. I love serving people, making an impact on the world. And when we saw this opportunity most recently, I was like, wow, I've always known I would do something huge, but I was like, what is it going to be? What is it going to be? Like, I've always been curious. What is it? And we saw this and it's like, wow, this is bigger than I ever imagined. We're putting our faucets in casinos and airports and stadiums, like all over the world. We're doing business in the States. We're doing business in UAE and Dubai and Mexico and Ecuador. And it's super exciting. So I'm a world traveler. I've been to 74 countries, territories, 74 territories. I count Northern Ireland and Scotland as two. But I live to travel. I love to travel. I'm a mom. I have twins, 8-year-old twins, and an amazing husband. And I just want to travel the world and be with my family and make an impact.
Man, that is amazing. And that, I mean, it sounds so, you're doing so much from properties to traveling to kids to your relationship to all these multiple businesses. It is, no, that's very, how do you manage it all?
I don't know some days. I think good attitude, staying positive, and just knowing. I remember when I was, there are times that I've worked a lot and it's been crazy. And it's like, I tell people, like, if you don't know your why bother? It's like, I know my why. I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this for a legacy. I'm doing this for the impact that I'm going to make on the world. And so even the tough days, I'm like, well, I know my why. I want my kids to have a better life than I had, just like I have a better life than my parents, what my parents provided to me.
Absolutely. What does a tough day look like for you?
I mean, it depends on the day. Sometimes it's, delayed flights and no internet connection and having to get stuff done and my phone's dying and I can't get home to my family. Sometimes it's just I don't know what tough days look like. I mean, I guess we all have tough days, but I just try to be grateful during those days and try to find the positive stuff. I mean, I guess a tough day looks like when I don't get enough sleep. It's a
Mhm.
lot harder to, go through those days. But yeah, I mean, most days are pretty good. I start my day with being grateful and I end my day with being grateful. And I think that just kind of keeps me on track with it doesn't matter. We're healthy, like grateful for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's very important.
You're never going to get everything done today. So if it doesn't get done tomorrow, if it's a priority, get it done tomorrow. But if it didn't happen today, it can happen tomorrow.
How did you learn that? Because from attitude and it sounds like that mindset of like being, right? Like, okay, I didn't get it done. I didn't get it all done, but and you know what? I'm happy with what you accomplished. I'll focus on this tomorrow. How do you not get frustrated from not being able to meet those goals when you have so much you're doing?
I mean, years of experience, right? Like I used to, and also probably living in Puerto Rico, it's taught me patience. I live on a tiny little island in Vieques and things don't happen as fast as they do, in New York City or San Francisco or anything, right? So, but I mean, I used to kind of like, I wanted to get here. And if somebody was in my way, I mean, I would just plow them down. I didn't care because like I'm getting there no matter what. I've changed now. I either like pick them up and move them gently or I just go around them. But I'm still going to get there. I'm not going to stop from getting there. I know where I'm going, but it just looks different. I don't know. I think it's just age,
Wisdom,
Yeah, it's wisdom. It's
experience
like,
sounds like.
yeah, and I have a very wise husband and he's helped me mellow out. He joked that he's made me from a type A to like I'm a type B plus now, not type A, which is true.
And I also heard kids give you patience too.
They do.
So you're getting double whammy.
Absolutely. Yeah. In a great way. Like the hardest job ever, but the most rewarding job ever.
Absolutely. How old are your kids?
They're 8. They just turned 8.
Oh,
Twins and a
yes,
girl.
twins, right? And you did, you and my mom did the same thing, right? Because we're CHs, and didn't you do like the same?
Yeah, I did a double D. Yeah. Dakota Dennis is my daughter's name.
Oh, that's nice. So tell me about how do you and your husband's relationship work with managing all the real estate and is you all on do you work together on the
No,
projects or
nope. That's why we're so happy. We don't work together. I respect the couples that can, and we obviously can work together on a lot of things, like for our family, and we work on a lot of stuff. But he has his business, and he has like probably about 100 employees. He has a great team, great administrative office, great managers. And so he's really responsible for like building the hotels, making sure they look beautiful. And then he manages the revenue. The revenue is the most important, right?
Mhm.
And what people don't realize in hotels, it's the same thing with the rental, you know, you can't rent tonight's hotel room tomorrow, right? So you don't want to necessarily sell a $400 hotel room for $50 just to make the $50 because you're probably going to get a not the best quality of person in that room and they might do more than $350 or $50 worth of damage, right? But he's responsible for the revenues and he makes sure that our properties stay occupied, that our vacancies are low, and that we're putting our properties everywhere that they need to be to stay occupied. And he builds beautiful properties. So, and then I have some investments that I do, and then I also am running Sinkside Billboards, which keeps me very busy. And it's exciting and I get to work with great business owners around the world. And I also have a nonprofit here in Puerto Rico that teaches kids how to swim. So 70% of Puerto Ricans do not know how to swim.
Wow.
And I grew up swimming. I swam competitively. It had a huge positive impact on my life. And so I want to give that to children. I want to give it to parents,
I love that.
You're when
Yes.
when your kid knows how to swim, it's a lot less stressful on a parent, right? Like I remember my mom saying once I was like 3 years old, 4 years old, she's like, at first my stomach would go like this. She's like, but you were just swimming and doing everything. So I didn't have to worry, like when you were in the pool. I mean, I was watching you. I wouldn't go leave you alone or anything, but I didn't have to be in the pool with you. I knew you were, and I think that takes a lot of stress off parents. It did for me once my kids were good swimmers. And, children die every year from drowning, and
Oh
it's
my
really
God. That's very special that you're doing, especially since you swam a lot, and I think that's incredible.
so
Where do you
busy.
have the classes? Are they in?
We're trying to raise money for a pool here in Vieques because there is no public pool. And swimming in the ocean, like, yeah, you could teach a kid how to swim in the ocean, but it's not the best controlled environment, right? So we're using our hotel pool right now, and then we're looking to build a community pool. We're raising funds to do that.
Oh, that's awesome. Not from nonprofits to managing your husband to manage the properties and your your incredible business. What do you do for fun? That's, obviously you probably love work, but what do you do that's not?
Yeah, no, I mean, I live to travel. I love to travel. Like, with the kid for my husband's birthday, we went to Costa Rica with the kids for 2.5 weeks. I love culture. I love seeing the world. I love my kids seeing the world. I love paddleboarding. Not this time of year, but usually between like November and April in Puerto Rico, my husband and I drop the kids at the school, and they're probably about like 50 meters from the beach where their school is. So we go to the beach and we walk about an hour, a mile and a half, and then we swim and then we walk back. I love to cook. I love healthy food. I'm all about health and wellness and longevity, which is another company that Lori and I have called Longevity Better, because I'm all about living a long life, but I don't want to live a long life where it's not good. Like my grandmother had Alzheimer's for 30 years. You hear about these people that just have no quality of life the last years of their life. And I want to live better and longer with a better brain, with a better body, and better being on the inside. So, and I just love friends. We have a little gymnasium like in our house, and I love having kids over. Like we had 3 kids over yesterday with my kids, and they're just playing in the gym, jumping on the trampoline, on the little balance beam and the bars. And so I love being around good people.
And I'm glad you said love several times. And anytime I hear that, I know you're doing what you love because everything, it sounds like you really focus on that. So when it comes to travel, because I love travel too, what's your top 3 places that you love that you've been to?
Oh, well, Costa Rica is definitely one of them because I used to live there, and it was very special for me to take my husband and my kids back there.
Did you go to the
Um,
spas? Does it have the natural
I
spas?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yep. I've been to Arenal and there in those hot springs, but I lived in a place called Santa Teresa, and it's on the Pacific, and it's a great little surf spot in the middle of the rainforest. It's beautiful. But I mean, Costa Rica is just a gorgeous, gorgeous country. So that's definitely one of my favorites. I love New Zealand. I think New Zealand is just beautiful, like different beautiful though. It's not like the rainforest, but there's just like the waters are fresh, that there's mountains, it's just the lakes, the rivers are absolutely beautiful. And I mean, I don't know that there's one place in the United States, but I think the United States is absolutely stunning. I think Mexico is stunning. You're saying top 3 places. So I don't know. I mean, Lake Tahoe in the United States is one of my favorite
crystal clear water,
places.
huh?
Yeah, yep.
I
But
haven't been to Lake Tahoe yet. That's on my list to check out.
yeah, it's beautiful. And even just like if you ever get a chance to just drive through our country, I mean, like it's gorgeous doing a cross country trip, going through Utah, going up through Washington and Oregon and across California, going to Yosemite. I mean, there's so many beautiful places in our country. There really is.
Absolutely. Have you done all those cross country trips?
Yeah, I've done a few of them. And at one point, I do want to live in a motorhome. I want to buy a motor. People are like, really? I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm going to get a motorhome, and we're going to homeschool the kids, and we're just going to go across the country and Canada. And we're just going to see all the places that, and get to stay. And if you like it, we stay for 3 weeks. Or if we don't like it, we move on.
No, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So when it comes to food and travel, what have you like picked up that you guys eat consistently from all the places you've been?
Well, I think my favorite thing in the entire world is tacos. Like I love tacos. I made tacos last night. I ate tacos like 3 times last week, at least in Mexico. But like on a normal basis, I make like it's like an acai bowl, but I put like everything in it. I put mushrooms in it. I put like protein powder in it. I put chia seeds, hemp seeds, creatine, collagen. I like put all the good stuff in this bowl, and that's usually when I'm not traveling what I eat. And when when I travel, I bring my chia seeds, I bring my collagen, my creatine, I have like little, we joke, we call them druggie bags, but I create little vitamin bags, that's like all my vitamins that I put in.
Oh,
And
I
I
saw you. I saw that in Miami.
when my husband and I first started dating, I would just leave the little bags, like when I was done with them. And I reuse them a lot too, but like we have a restaurant and we go eat at the restaurant and I'd leave the bag. He's like, what are you doing? You can't leave bags. It looks like a little druggy bag. They're gonna wonder who I'm dating.
No, you could tell it was vitamins because they're very, I have all the color. And my mom's so into health, so we have all those different vitamins too. And I used to take them every morning growing up.
Mhm.
So that's why when I saw it, I'm like, oh yeah, she's into I could tell you're into health as
Yeah,
well.
I have my like morning one and then I have my evening one too with like my magnesium and everything. So,
Yeah, yes.
and I love green juice. Like I love juicing. I make cold pressed juice like all the time.
It's very refreshing. I've noticed that from juicing as well. And then, so I think the combination of that plus living near the water, no wonder why you're so positive.
Not every day. I mean, I have my days. It's
Yeah.
like I was talking to a friend of mine last week. He has like he talks about mental health and he struggled with it for a few years, but yeah, he was an overachiever, and everybody thinks like he says like everybody says that mental health only affects 20% of the people. And he's like, but that's not true. We're all a little bit crazy. We all suffer from anxiety and depression. Yeah, maybe we're not all, bipolar or borderline or like some extreme like schizophrenic mental issues, but we all struggle with anxiety, depression. It's just what the level is and how we get the help to get through it. But we all like I have bad days that I'm like, I don't want to do this right now. And there may not even be a reason. It's just the way you feel.
How do you push
So
through those bad days?
the why,
It all comes back
what
to that.
is your why? Like what, like if you like I did an exercise probably about like 17 years ago now, is I wrote down my perfect day and it changed my life, like almost overnight changed my life. And so I tell people this all the time and they do it and they're like, I mean, I get amazing messages and like voice notes and stuff from people. It's like very detailed. Like, where do you wake up? Who are you with? What do you smell? What do you see? What do you feel? Like I wake up and I can hear the ocean and I can smell the ocean and the fresh air and I have like, these white flowing curtains that are in the wind, and my bed is like just this big king size bed that's soft and comfortable. And I wake up next to the man of my dreams and, my kids come into, I wrote down a very, very detailed, I do yoga, I walk on the beach, I go swimming and I went through and I have lunch with friends and I work on something that like excites my brain and is intellectually stimulating. And so I wrote that down, I don't know how many years ago. I'm not good with remembering numbers and dates, but like my life almost changed overnight because I'm willing, if it gets me closer to my perfect day, I am willing to work for it, right? But if it gets me further away from my perfect day, it's easy to say no to also. So I'm
Mm.
not saying yes to everything. I'm saying no to the things that don't get me closer, and I'm saying yes to the things that I believe in and know that will get me to where I'm going. And when I did that, I was going through a divorce, a not so fun divorce, not like any divorce is fun, but I didn't have the man of my dreams. I didn't have kids. I wanted children, and I just wrote it. And it's like you're not going to waste time with somebody that doesn't have the same goals with you. You're not going to say yes to a project that isn't getting you closer to where you want to go. It really helped me. Like, I think the most important thing is it helped me say no to things. And also, a lot of stuff doesn't cost money. It doesn't cost me money to go for a walk on a beach. I moved from being away from the beach to the beach, which again, a lot of times isn't a huge cost difference. Sometimes it's even cheaper. And, doing yoga costs you nothing. What, you buy a yoga mat for $15 and you can do it in your own home, you
Yeah.
know? Meditating, doing breath work, cooking healthy food. It doesn't, a lot of things that I realized for my perfect day, I could actually start doing right away that I didn't realize. People think, oh, I need $10,000 a month, $30,000 a month, $10 million, whatever it is, right? People think they need that. It's not a number. It's a feeling and it's what you want to do. And once you know that, you just get to back into what that actually looks like.
Oh my goodness. That's like vision board. I love that. I mean, I was smiling because I've recently started to like write down what it is I want. And I literally just said the same thing. It's not numbers. It's a feeling. It's like you said, I'm a beach person too. So when you started talking about waking up with with the curtains blowing, I said, open the Florida glass,
Yeah.
the doors. I'm like, I could see it, but it just makes you innately happy. Right. And
Mhm.
I think when you find that and recognize that, that makes a lot of sense. right? Because
Yeah.
you're truly living, like you're living what you dream of. No,
Yeah. It's life-changing. I mean, I recommend anybody to do it. It doesn't matter how old you are. I mean, I have friends that are, in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're like, oh, I need to do that. And then they do it and they're like, oh my God, why didn't I do this 5 years ago when you told me to do it? I'm
right.
like, yeah, but start now. Who cares that you didn't do it 5 years ago? Do it now.
So, and what's is it an exercise or is it you just
Mhm.
you read, what's it called again?
Yeah, I just call it my perfect day. It wasn't my idea. I don't even remember where I came up with the idea because it was years ago. It was an article I read or something that I listened to. I don't remember, but it was like write down all the details of your perfect day from the minute you wake up till the minute you go to sleep. What are you thinking about when you go to bed? Like what do you and I wrote everything. I mean, I think the first time I did it, it was like 6 pages. And it's like brings tears to your eyes writing down, right? Like I remember I was flying from San Francisco to New York and I spent like the entire flight. And then I would like think of something and then I'd move it and I'd take it from the beginning. And then I add to it. And it's something that I revisit at least once a day, or sorry, not once a day, once a year. And I did what does my perfect day look like? Like if you had to repeat Groundhog Day, like I don't know if you remember that movie, but he wakes up and it's the same day every day. And he's like, oh God. But then he realizes, well, if I'm gonna repeat the same day every day, why don't I just like make it great?
Absolutely.
Right. And then like, well, what does your perfect week look like? What is it? Because you don't want to do the same day every day, obviously. What does your perfect month look like? Your perfect year look like? Like my perfect year looks like me going to 4 new countries every year.
I love that. So, what would you tell your younger self when you were right out of college and still figuring everything out?
I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is chill out because I was super intense. Not that I'm not intense now, but it would be like just keep going. Just know that it's gonna work out and keep going towards what you want. Think about what you want. Don't just go through the steps, like be awake, be aware. What do you really want? And just be aware of like everybody around you. Be aware of how your partner's feeling. Be aware of how your coworkers are. Be aware of who you surround yourself with. I don't really want to be around negative people. I can love them from afar. They don't need to be right next to me. It's important to me who I surround myself with, and even more important to me who my kids are around. I protect my time well, but I protect my kids even because they're even more vulnerable than I am. So I would just say be aware, don't give up, and don't sweat the small stuff.
Yes.
Which is cheesy, but I think that's like a book or something. And it's true, right? There's great books out there. There's cheesy phrases that work. They're there for a reason.
You have a favorite book?
Well, my favorite book is The Alchemist. I have that book like in multiple houses that I have. And like I just have it there and I'll just randomly pick it up and I'll on some page and I'll read that page. And I swear every time I do it, there's some message that I'm like, yep, that's what I needed to hear right now. That's what I needed to know. I think it's an amazing book.
From, reading all these books to and accomplishing what like in your career as you keep on growing, what was the moment that changed for you as you look back?
Reading Loopholes of the Rich changed me because I realized that I was an entrepreneur. It was in me. I had been an entrepreneur since I used to go door to door knocking with my little red wagon to clean cars. I was just an entrepreneur. I'm very unemployable. I want to do my own thing. I want to, I don't want people telling me I can't do it because if you tell me I can't do it, you better go watch me. That was like the book that made me realize like, oh, wow, there's so many things out there that are available to us that aren't really that hard. And I mean, to me, being self-employed, people are like, oh no, there's no security in it. I need to work for somebody else. There is no security in working for somebody else. They can just decide tomorrow that they don't want you. And you know who has your back more than anybody? You
You.
do. Nobody else. Even people that love you. My husband's amazing. He loves me. He absolutely looks after me the way I look after him. But if he doesn't look after himself, he can't look after me. If I don't look after myself, I can't look after him.
And your
So
cup has to be overflowing for you to help.
yeah, yeah.
Do you have like what haunts you? We talked about what drives you. What haunts you? Do you fear anything?
I mean, my biggest fear in the world is losing people that I love. I lost my best friend when I was 24, and I've lost people that are really special to me. And that's my biggest fear that I'm going to lose the people that I love.
I'm sorry about that.
They're going to suffer.
Yes. Now, how do you continue to cope with that? Because the best thing I think you value are relationships, and you have all these memories. And like you said earlier, if you're lucky, you get to keep those memories. So how do you continue to cope with that and realize life is short?
Well, I mean, my mom's a big worrier. So I tell her all the time, like, Mom, worrying does no good. It only takes away from the present. It doesn't change the past, it doesn't fix the future. So I just try to remind myself of that. It does, like my husband he's very aware and I don't necessarily need to worry about him, right? Like he knows what's going on, but I just like for my kids, I try to fuel them with the knowledge and the wisdom that so that they make good decisions in life and they don't put themselves at risk, and that there are going to be some things that happen to them in life that I'm always here to support them and be aware of your surroundings, and I mean, it was really cute. Like the other day we were at the beach, but this wasn't the other day. This was probably like 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. I don't know. We're at the beach and we're in this really sandy beach. It's beautiful. And it's shallow. So I'm kind of like backing up on my arms like this. And I tell my kids all the time to be aware. Like it's very important to be aware because there could be something in danger. And if you think that something's behind you, you turn around and you look because you want to see what it is rather than pretend that it's not there, you
Hmm.
know? And so I'm just paying attention to my kids and Jack goes, "Stop, Mom, a sea urchin." And my hand was about like this far. And I don't know if you've ever stepped on a sea urchin or touched a sea urchin, but
Mm.
it is terrible.
I
And
don't even know what a sea urchin is. What is this?
I mean, it's poisonous. It's not poisonous that it's going to kill you, but it's like a round thing with spikes that come out of it. And they
Mhm.
basically, the way they go into your skin, like hundreds of them would have gotten into my hand. It's very painful and you have to take them out, but they expand when they get into your skin. So
Mm.
it's kind of like a prickly pear cactus times 100 and very painful. And it would have been my right hand.
Sounds
And
awful.
he's so like proud of it. He still mentions it. He's like, "Yeah, Mom, remember?" Because when I say like, it's important to be aware. Look, we're in a parking lot. Be aware of the cars, because that's the number one place kids are killed every single day is parking lots. And I'm there. We have wild horses here, so they have since they were like two. I was like, okay, what happens if the horses stampede? You need to get behind a tree. I've always had to teach him these things. And he's like, "Yeah, Mom, we need to be aware. Remember that time I saved you from the sea urchin?" And I'm like, "I do, Jack. Good job." you know, and just like telling my kids to speak up, like I remember we were visiting this past summer. My daughter's very petite and she's kind of quiet. And my sister was like, "Sit down and eat, Dakota," because she doesn't eat very much. And Dakota was like, "No, I gotta go get," and she's like, "Sit down and eat, Dakota." And Dakota's like, "No, I gotta go that. And my sister was like, "Sit down, Dakota." And Dakota goes, "No, and she went outside and she opened the door and the dog was eating this plastic bag. And I was like, "Yes, good job, Dakota. You did what you knew was right and you stood up." And even though my sister was, raising her voice because like she had to tell her 3 times. And I was like, "You absolutely stand up for what you believe in and you speak up and you do what's right. You don't cower down to somebody bigger or older than you telling you to do something if you know that you're worried about the dog choking on that plastic bag," because that's what she was worried about.
Mm.
So after that, I was like, "Good job, Dakota." And my sister was like, "Dakota, you're right. I'm sorry. Because she's always got some excuse for not eating. I do not blame my sister at all. How many, like, I joke that like I say more than anything besides "I love you" is "Dakota, eat. Dakota, eat."
Were you always bold in not,
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. My parents told me I was from the second I spoke.
did that get you in trouble growing up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I remember my dad telling me not to talk back to him. And my dad has 5 girls, no boys, 5 girls. And I said, "Really, Dad? You want me to just not speak up for what I believe in? You don't want me to talk back?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah."
Yes. I've got to go down that road.
So yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think like some people, I think you can definitely, like I've changed and I've learned and I've become more wise, but I think just there's some people just got it in them and listen to what's in you. You know what it is.
Do you
So
think people are born that way or it grows through?
I think it's a nature and nurture. I think it's both. I'm very different from my parents. Very different. Like they did not want me to quit my job. They wanted me to keep my good, and that's fine. And I'm still very different from my parents. My parents live in the same house I grew up in. I love it, right? I move around. I'm like, oh, like when I came to Puerto Rico for the first time, I came here for 10 days and then I was like, "Yep, this is the place for me." I went back home. I sold my car. I sold my house. I sold, I got my stuff and I moved here in suitcases. That's
You really know what you like and want.
yeah, I mean, I think about it and I try to not make like crazy drastic decisions, like I like to think it through, but I processed it for 10 days. I know what I'm looking for. Like I know what's important to me. Like there's three things that are really, really important to me. Like I love the community. I want to be around a community that like I love Lori and my company. It's called High Tide Ventures. Like Sinkside Billboards is our brand and that's our, DBA, but
Hmm.
it's called High Tide Ventures because all ships rise at high tide and that's the only
Hmm.
people I want to be around. I don't want to be around low tide people that try to pull me down. Like when I do better, you do better. When you do better, I do better. If I'm having a bad day and you're having a good day, you having a good day is going to make me feel better. It's not going to, and there's a great kids book that's a great adult book too. It's called Have You Filled a Bucket? And it's amazing. It talks about how everybody in the world has a bucket. Everybody. It's invisible, but everybody has it. And when it's full, we feel happy and excited and great about ourselves. And when it's empty, we're sad and depressed and not motivated. And but the great thing is when you fill other people's buckets, let's say I help you with something, it fills your bucket, it makes you feel good, but it also makes me feel good,
Yeah.
right? Even if I just smile at somebody, you could be the only person that smiles at that person all day. You don't know what they're experiencing, right? And the great thing is not only can you fill a bucket, but also you can dip into people's buckets. So if you make some like remark to somebody or you do something mean or you bully somebody, like you're dipping into their bucket and it doesn't make them feel good. But you might think that it's going to make you feel good to do something like that, but it dips into your bucket too. It doesn't fill your bucket. And I think that's a great, great book of like how to live your life. Like, and I'm not perfect. Don't get me wrong. There are days you do not want to, like I'm not, I'm as at an airline counter when I'm like, oh my God, can you please just, my bag is 51 pounds. Can you please just like, okay, you want me to take 51 pounds out? Yes, ma'am. No, I don't need to say yes, ma'am. Right. Like I don't need to have a little tone or an attitude. She's just following the rules. Right. I'm not perfect, but it doesn't make me feel good to make that comment either. Right. And
Hmm.
so I realized that.
Yes, and that recognition is important. Can you take us back to when you quit your job, right? Was it like a home run and you were cash flowing, or was it, what was that experience like?
Yep, it was a home run. And it's interesting because so I told the company, I read the book and I told the company, I want to travel. I want to travel internationally. And it was a big company. It was PeopleSoft, bought out by Oracle. And they kept me in my region. I had to be on the West Coast. And I was like, I lived in Singapore. I wanted to travel the world. And I was like, well, I want to travel internationally. They're like, yeah, no, corporate policy is you have to stay on the West Coast. I'm like, okay, well then here's my notice. I would have stayed. And I'm happy that they have that corporate because who knows where I would have been if they would have said, okay, cool, we'll let you travel. So I went to Costa Rica for the first time for 3 weeks. And when I was there, I got an email from the VP of the European. And he's like, I don't know if you remember me, but I met you, in California, and we have an opportunity for you to come to the Netherlands. And I
Oh.
was making 4 times as much money. And I got to say yes or no. I had a choice, right? When I
Mhm.
worked for the company, they just told me where to go. I didn't have a choice. And it was great. And I didn't look back. And then I went to the Netherlands and then I went to Scotland. I got to work in Australia. I got to work in Manhattan, in Chicago. And it was great. I got to choose where I went. And so I worked less, I made more, but it still didn't like inspire me. I didn't love it. I liked problem solving, so I liked that because my job was problem solving, but I didn't really have anybody tell me that I could do it, cheering me on. I didn't. Like it's not that my parents didn't support me. They did. They said, "Okay, well, worst case scenario, you can always move back home and get another job." So they're supportive that way, but they weren't like, "You can do this. You've got this." And I remember a year later, I was flying through Heathrow Airport and I had made 3 times as much money as I had made the year before. And I worked about half time. And I was delayed. I don't know why I was delayed. And I was going through and I was just walking through the shops, everything. And I saw this watch right here,
That same one.
this one. And well, it's actually not this one, but that's a different story I'll get to. It's the same exact watch, but this is the second one that I bought.
Okay.
And I looked at it and it's an expensive watch, it's a nice watch. And I was like, you know what? I have the money. It was my exact 1 year anniversary. And I was like, I succeeded. What everybody told me I shouldn't do and I couldn't do. And what was I thinking? I'm going to buy this watch and I'm going to look at it and it's going to remind me that I can do anything, what everybody says. And so I was like, yeah, but it's a lot of money. And so I walked away, I got something to eat and I kept thinking about the watch and I went back and I bought the watch. And every time I look at the watch, I'm like, yep,
Mm.
that's. And so about 11 years ago, 12 years ago, my house got robbed. And I had a bunch of nice watches and jewelry and stuff, and my watch got stolen. And I was like, I mean, I just felt like violated. I don't know if you've ever been robbed or anything, but it's just like somebody was in my home. Somebody was in my
Personal
bed
space.
next to my, like it was like, it just felt gross, right? And I worked so hard for these things that I had bought. And then I realized, you know what? It didn't take away. Yeah, that sucks that you stole from me. And they did catch the guy, but my stuff was long gone. But I didn't buy the watch for quite a few years. I was like, you know what? Like, he didn't take away what I did. I don't need a watch to prove to me that I did that. And then my husband and I were on vacation. No, we were working. We were in Scottsdale, Arizona, and he came with me. And we were like in a mall to meet somebody. And I was like, oh, that's my watch because it got stolen before I met my husband. He was like, oh, that I was like, yeah, that's the watch that I bought. And he's like, let's go get it. And I was like, I don't know, I don't need it, And he's like, nobody needs a watch like that. He's like, let's go get it. And so I went in and I tried it on. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'll get it again. I deserve it.
Nice. Can I ask what type of watch it is?
It's just a tag. I mean,
Oh,
it's nice. I don't know. It's just nice. I like it.
yeah. Good
Yeah.
thing.
I mean, it's not like $100,000 watch or anything, but it's a nice watch.
No, I agree. And it's like you said, what it represents, right?
Yeah.
For little treat yourself for your accomplishments.
Yeah. And it represents something different now. It represents something more. Yeah, I bought the original one, but now it represents what my husband and I have built together and we bought it together.
Yes,
And he wants me to. He's like, no, get it. It's nice.
absolutely. I'm really big on watches, and my dad always he had this one watch, and he never let us like he barely wore it. It just stayed in the timer, the
Mhm.
wristband when he
That moves
passed.
it.
Yes, and when he
Yeah.
passed, me and my brother, picked which watches we wanted, right? And I got the one in the watch finder. And I love that watch, but it's not my favorite, right? My favorite one, my dad he bought us watches as a kid, but he gave me one of his watches, and it was one of his nicer, end watches. And that one is my favorite one. And yeah, that's one of my biggest fears. Like, yes, if something were to happen to that watch, it's just because of what it represents, right? Like my father wore it and then he gave it to me, and that's how he gave it to me, right? And that's why I asked about the watch because they mean a lot in the simplest ways, right? Just to tell time.
Yeah.
But it's the memories like that I always refer back to.
Yeah.
So, when that makes me think of legacy, how is it that you want to be remembered?
Well, I don't want to die. That's which I think now is like I never thought it would be possible that we don't die, but I actually do think that's possible. I think we just need to make it another 10 or 20 years, and I think it's possible that we may not die.
Well, we are living longer.
We are living longer, but with AI and everything I mean, like, I don't know, there's some crazy, crazy accomplishments happening in the world of health. But legacy, I want my kids to be kind and generous and confident individuals. And I want people that met me and remember me to be like, you know what? That lady like gave her all and she always helped. There's times like when you help people and they always say like don't have expectations. And something that I've noticed like, over the years is like people are just they're not generous. They're not, and that's fine. I don't care. But I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to stop being me. I'm still going to be me and I'm still going to give and I'm still going to be kind and I'm not going to like step back or I'm not going to do less because of somebody else. I'm going to always be me and and that's how I want to be remembered. I want to be remembered as like, yeah, she just kept going and she kept giving and she kept making a difference and she was there for me. I tell my friends all the time, it doesn't matter. Like you call me if you whatever. I'm like, call me 3 times. I think that's what it is. If my phone rings, you have to call within 5 minutes. But if you need me, you call me 3 times and I'm there. It doesn't matter what time, I will pick up the phone. and I will. And it doesn't matter how tired I am or if it's 4 a.m. I'm absolutely there for my people.
Absolutely. I know you are.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Would you say, you know, money changes you in any way?
I don't think money changes you. I think that money just gives you more of what you are. So if you're evil, money gives you more evil. It gives you the ability to be more evil. If you're good, money gives you the ability to do more good. Like now that I have more money, I absolutely do more good. I'm able to sponsor kids that don't know how to swim and teach them how to swim. I'm able to, help kids out or help friends out or help family out. Like I just think it gives you more. Like, for example, my mom had cancer 2 years ago. She's cancer free now for 2 years, but
That's
I
amazing.
dropped everything. I didn't have to. I chose to drop everything, and I lived in the hospital with her for 7 weeks,
Mm,
and it saved her life. If I didn't have the money, there are unfortunately people that don't have the money that can't do that. They can't even necessarily, their parent might die and they don't even live near their parents. They can't see their parents for the last time. They
mm.
can't like, so money gives you the ability to do more of who you are and what you want, right? Like it allows me to have the money to go spend time with my family for Christmas for 2 weeks, It allows me to help others. If I was a bad person, it would allow me to do bad things.
So that leaves me with this last question. How do you continue to bring out the best version of yourself?
I don't know. That's a good question. I always tell everybody, and I think it's like if I just always want to do better. Like one time I had somebody tell me that like I went through a breakup and he's like, "You're gonna be okay, Heather. You're gonna meet somebody." And I was like, I know, because I'm awesome. And he was like, "What did you just say?" I said, I'm awesome. I'm a great partner. I treat my partner amazingly. It's his loss, it's not my loss. Like, yeah, I'm hurting right now. And he was like, well, maybe it's like, because his first language was not English. He's like, well, maybe it's just like I'm not understanding right because I don't speak English as well as you. And I was like, nope, nope, it's not arrogant. If you don't think you're awesome, then you should change whatever that is that you don't think is awesome about yourself. Because I want to be awesome and you should want to be awesome. And if you're like, you know what? I don't like this about myself. The only person that can change it is you. If you're, you know, fat or if you're unmotivated or if you're unhappy, you are the only person that can change that. Nobody else can. And if you're not friendly and you don't have friends, well, then change it. And you want friends? Well, go be a good friend.
Mm,
Because people that are good friends have good friends. And you should be awesome. If you don't think you're awesome, then start working on the things that aren't awesome and make them awesome about you.
that's right. Birds of a feather flock together.
That's right.
That's one of those sayings, right?
Yeah. I heard a funny one. He was like, you know what? You want to be around a bunch of thoroughbreds because thoroughbreds want to hang out with thoroughbreds.
That's right.
Jackasses don't want to hang out with thoroughbreds.
No.
And thoroughbreds don't want to hang out with jackasses. So if you surround yourself with a bunch of jackasses, you're going to have more jackasses around you. If you surround yourself with a bunch of thoroughbreds, you're just going to bring more thoroughbreds because thoroughbreds want to hang out with thoroughbreds. I was like, all right, I'll be a thoroughbred. Not that I know anything about horses, but I know the difference between a thoroughbred and a jackass.
Yes, absolutely. Oh man, I love that. Okay. How can we keep up with you and keep seeing what you're doing with your billboards and all your other companies?
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything I can ever help you with, you can go to Sinkside Billboards /Heather. That's how you can get in touch with me. And yeah, I mean, I'm not a big social media person. I'm not on social media, so there's nothing to follow me or anything. But if you want to get in touch with me, that's how to reach me.
Well, Heather, thank you again. It was, I really appreciate you sharing, the insights of your excellence. Thank you again. And that concludes, right? The
Thank
Chandler Chase Show. Take care.
thank you, Chandler. It was great having me on the show. I appreciate it. Keep doing it.
Absolutely. So excellence isn't just about results. It's about rhythm, right? Heather reminded us that the most extraordinary lives are built from ordinary decisions, repeated with intention. So think gratitude, awareness, and courage. So whether it's creating impact through business or teaching kids how to swim in Puerto Rico, she proves that success is measured by how much good your work continues to do long after you've left the room. If this episode inspired you, Share with someone designing their own version of excellence. I'm Chandler Chase, and this is The Chandler Chase Show. Until next time, ciao.